So he's looking at me, he's talking, he goes, oh yeah, he goes, yeah. And he goes, do not shoot, do not shoot. I'm gonna go talk to him. I says, Al, don't go. He goes in there, next thing I know, boom, they snag him, spin him around, blindfold him, tie his hands, and suck him out the window. And I'm walking upstairs, and they're coming towards me, and I remember I'm seeing him. There's a guy, I'm starting to go up the stairs, and I look over, and there's another window, and I just go, I remember I'm sitting down there, and I could hear Iranians on our radio, and they're screaming on our radio. I go, what the heck's going on? So I start switching channels. Then you get the other guys and switch on their own channels. I go, what the heck is going on? So finally I get one of the channels, I get upstairs, and I says, yeah, we're downstairs. I says, I got to tell you right now, they're pulling the bars off the windows. They go, what? I said, they're pulling the bars off the windows. It's not going to be long before they get in here. And I says, we need you to send 2 of you back up here. So I said, okay. So I turn around to look, and Rocky and Herman already ran back up the stairs. When I heard that. So I'm down there by myself. So I go back down the other end of the embassy in the basement, and they already got the bars off the windows, and they're coming in the window. So I back up.
The protesters.
Yeah, the protesters were already coming in.
Now, were these college age?
Who knows? To tell you the truth, they say militants, college people, who knows? Because you talk about Mahmoud Ahmadinejad, the president of Iran, he was there, and he was an intel guy back then, and he was one of the main guys that put it up. And they say, oh, no, he didn't. But he actually had a website talking about how he put that together and all this stuff, and everybody said, oh, no, he wasn't involved. And I got pictures showing him when he was there, standing next to some of the hostages and stuff like that. And he was there when I was there,
Ahmadinejad.
Yeah, Ahmadinejad.
Well, you mean the same one that was the president back in like George W. Bush time?
Correct, yeah. Well,
wow.
Well, was he president? Yeah, he was president.
I think he was, yeah. Because I recognize that name. I remember hearing it on the news all the time back in like the early 2000s.
Yeah, I'll tell you another story later about that. But anyway, so that was going on, and he was there, and
so they were flooding through the windows.
Correct. They were coming through the window, and I saw them coming in. I go, they're coming in. They've breached the basement. They breached the basement. And I didn't hear anything. I just hear Ronnie and John. I go, what the crap is going on? So I pull up my shotgun, and I rack around. And I stand there in front of them, and they're coming through the window, and they got like 6 or 7 women in front of them, and rifles are hanging, and the men are pushing them forward. I go, what the heck did I do? What do I do?
The men were pushing the women
men were
forward.
pushing the women forward. And
that later became something they've done a lot since then, too.
And they did that because what they said at that time, and it was one of the females that was there at the time, Mary Maru, she says, she became a foreign minister, and they talked to her years later. They talked about it. She goes, yeah, we were pushing them, hoping the Marines would shoot us and that they would carry us outside into the crowd so they would come in and just kill everybody or do whatever. So, but we didn't. I'm down there. I don't got my rifle. I'm sitting there looking at them, and I go to rack around. They're coming towards me, and I rack around, and they stop. And I'm pointing right at them. I go, do I shoot above them? Do I shoot them? They're not pointing guns at me, but they're coming toward me. What do I do? What do I do? What do I do? I'm thinking in my head.
I mean, this is probably like, in split seconds decision time.
Yeah, decision time. I'm a warehouseman, but I'm a Marine. But, all Marines are basically combat trained right out of boot camp.
Yeah.
So I'm sitting there thinking, but I've got tunnel vision, and I'm just right there. I have no idea what's going on around me at the time. So I rack around in my shotgun, and they hear it. That particular sound when you rack around in your shotgun, and they stop and they look at me, and I'm sitting there looking at them, and I went, what do I do? Do I shoot them in the legs? Do I shoot above them? Do I shoot around just to scare them, see what happens? And because they're not pointing the rifles at me, and I'm looking at them, and I'm going, and then I thought of something, and it hit my head right away, and I go, son of a gun. So when you take a shotgun and you check it before you load it, you always rack around, you pull it back, and it makes a very distinct sound. It has a hollow sound, right? That's what my shotgun did. I never loaded it. Well, I had my pistol. I was so busy getting stuff done, just through my day, I never loaded. I had the box of rounds in my pocket. I said, son of a gun. So they start coming toward me again. And I rack another round. I move forward. What I did first was I pulled the trigger. I couldn't get it out. So I pulled the trigger. I knew it wasn't in there. I pulled the trigger because I knew there wasn't anything in there. I pulled the trigger. So I rack another round. They stopped. So I start moving forward, and I'm going, click, tick, tick, click, like 6 or 7 times, and they all backed up into the room again. And it's funny because one of the Marines in a book, Gesell Ayatollah, he says, oh my God, Billy Gallegos was down there all by himself, and we were all so afraid because he was so gung-ho, he was dry firing on the Iranians.
He was dry firing on the Iranians?
Yeah, I was like, oh my God.
You were by yourself down there.
I was by myself down there. So, and that's what I had to do. Once I got him back in the room, I stepped back around the corner, and I loaded my shotgun. I popped back out, and this time, bam, I pop around there, and it sounds perfect. So I'm sitting there this time. I'm sorry, I keep hitting this thing.
Where did you shoot that round?
So I didn't shoot around at the time. I just put a round into my shotgun. I'm ready to go. It's all loaded up. So this time I'm aiming. I'm at him. I'm getting ready to shoot. I go. I'm gonna have to shoot him in the leg or something if they keep coming out because they get a hold of me. I'm done. So I'm getting ready to shoot, and then I hear like an echo, and I tell you, I got tunnel vision, my first combat situation, and I'm just like, I hear Billy like an echo. Billy, and I go, is that God? Is that Jesus? Somebody's like it's in my ear, but it's like an echo. And I go, what is that? And then I hear, and I look, and it's Ellen Golzinski, the RSO, Regional Security Officer, State Department. The other regional security officer, had left earlier that day to go to a meeting with the ambassador at the foreign ministry, so they weren't there when all that happened.
Oh,
So there was only
wow.
one RSO there. So he's looking at me, he's talking. He goes, "Oh yeah," he goes, "Yeah." When he goes, "Do not shoot, do not shoot. Lower your weapon." So I just put it down to here. That's it. I didn't put it all the way down. I put it down, I'm ready. And then he
This
goes,
is
he's
the State Department
right,
RSO
right,
told you not to shoot.
correct. He says, "Don't shoot, don't shoot."
Okay.
And I said, "Okay, okay." And he looks at me, he goes, "Do you see those two guys back there that like were giving orders after they're already coming in, and you can see them in the background in the back room?" And he goes, "I know those two guys. I've dealt with them before." And I go, "What?" He goes, "I dealt with them before. I'm gonna go talk to them." I says, "Al, don't go. Al, don't go." And he hands me his pistol. So I took it in my thing. He goes in there. Next thing I know, boom, they snag him, spin him around, blindfold him, tie his hands, and suck him out the window. Gone.
They sucked him right out the
Yep.
window. Oh my God, dude. What was going through your head when you saw that happen?
I went, "Oh crap!" I got on the radio and I was on a channel where I'm talking to everybody. I says, I gave the, I called in. They go, "What's going on?" I says, they have Golozinski, they have RSO Golozinski. He's been taken. The radio got quiet. Well, you know what happens now, right? Because he's gone. Who's in charge? Marines.
The Marines were in
So
charge after he's
Gunny's
gone.
in charge now. Yeah,
So Gunny basically took
yeah. I said, "They're
responsibility
in
after that.
here. They're all over the basement. What do you want me to do? What do you want me to do?" And they says, "Get back up here." But before I left, I stuck the end of the CS gas grenade launcher on my shotgun, and I pulled that first round out, popped it out, and I took it out and I put a green round in there, and I started wiring. I stuck a CS gas grenade in there. And what it does is it's got a green round and it shoots the gas grenade. I'm walking upstairs and they're coming towards me. And I remember I'm seeing him. There's a guy. I'm starting to go up the stairs and I look over and there's another window and I just go,
So you fired a CS canister
CS
out there
canister. Yeah.
to fill
At
the
the,
whole basement up.
well, I hit an Iranian with it, but
Oh, you did?
yes.
Jesus.
And it goes,
Did you see that happen?
yes.
You saw it hit him? Oh
He goes,
my.
poof, and then pipe powder everywhere. And I go, I'm up. So I got upstairs. I closed the doors behind me. I go into post one.
Was that door able to be locked?
Yes, you could lock it from the inside. So I locked it and I closed it and I shut it. But it wasn't a big, it was just a little lock. It wasn't nothing fancy.
Yeah.
So, and the other one just had one of those push-up things up, up on top. So I lock it. I go into post one because there's some shelves in there, and there's firearms in those shelves. And so I go in there, and we used to get in there to get stuff out, and they kept an Uzi in there and some hunting rifles from some other people that had left there a long time or whatever. And there was some ammo and stuff in there.
An Uzi?
Yeah, the Uzi. They had
A little
they had a
submachine gun.
local. They had some locals as a protection deal for the ambassador
Yeah.
when he went out, and he went out with the Arsoma, and they had Uzis,
Oh
and
wow.
they kept a couple there. So I remember I ran up there and I got to get those guns. I got to get them before I'm going all upstairs. So I go in there and I'm doing the lock, three combination locks. And I apologize if I'm like going through my head and I forget because it's that medication screwed me up.
That's all
But
good.
so I'm trying to open. I couldn't open. I opened them every day. I opened every day for months. All three of them had the same combination number, 030. Tell you right now. I couldn't open them then. So I run in the gunny's office. I grab a crowbar, and they were just wooden shells. I pop the locks off, and boom, boom, grab all the weapons. I'm going up the stairs. I get up to the top steps. It's a metal door, and you got a cipher to open. And I'm pushing the thing, trying to get the cipher open. I can't get it open. And I'm knocking the kicking door. They look and they go, "It's Gallegos." And they look out and they open the door, and I go in and take them in.
So you had it like you were carrying
Right.
like bridle carrying
Right.
a handful, like a armful of weapons
Yeah.
upstairs
Yeah.
from downstairs to clear out post one.
Yeah,
Did
clear
you
out post
manage
one.
to get all of the guns out of there?
Yeah, there was just a couple in there. There was a few. The Uzis were gone because they took them when they went on the detail. But
Okay.
the hunting rifles were in there and a couple of little pistol things. But it was funny because on the wall there's this big black box. It has this big button on it. It's got all these wires sticking out. It has a little antenna on it and stuff like that. And they said if anything ever happened, when you go to the range, you push this button. If somebody's not around and they're attacking the embassy, whatever, you push that button. and it goes to like let everybody in the whole world know that you're being attacked. So every night when we used to relieve each other, we'd push each other towards that thing and, and try to push the other guys. Come
Of
on,
course, naturally,
yeah,
yeah.
naturally,
That's what
Marines being
Marines do,
stupid.
yeah.
So lucky it never got pushed. But I remember looking at it and I didn't see it on. I got all those weapons in my hand. And I just reach up with my elbow and I go kink,
So you're
pushed
the
it.
one that hit the button.
Yeah, but it was everybody already knew what was going on.
Yeah.
It was just nobody had done it before. I said, "That's cool. I'm going to push that button." So I clink, I pushed that button. Little red dots go, tick, 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 and the big one, red one, turned on red, and I was like, "Oh, that was cool."
I wonder if that alerted, like, people back in DC and everywhere
Everybody,
else at that
DC,
point.
Pentagon, everywhere, State Department, everywhere. Yeah,
So
just
that was like, "Hey,
White House,
SOS."
White House. Yeah, it was like a SOS signal or whatever out to everybody.
Okay.
So I get upstairs, I get in, and I said, "They're all over downstairs in the basement." They go, "Okay, okay." And so we just start doing stuff up there. We got our gas masks on because there's gas coming in from another door. Because I threw a few more gas grenades while I was down there also, and that's just gas everywhere now coming up. And they got those doors open. They just kicked them open, and they came upstairs, and they were all over the place. And there was all kinds of things going on upstairs. And they're on the. We get all of a sudden I hear a knock on the door, and we go over to the door. Marines are looking there. We got to shut. And we go, "What's going on?" They go, "Who is it?" "It's Al Golzinski, RSO." They look out and they go, "They got Al. He's blindfolded and tied up. And he's at the door and they got a gun to his head." Al says, "Open the door. If you don't open the door, they're going to kill me."
Oh my god. Who was at the door?
On the inside,
Yeah, on the inside.
Marines and the gunny.
Okay.
Yeah. And we're looking out and we look at each other and we all go like that. We said, "No." And we go, "We're not opening the door. We're not opening the door." They didn't hear anything. That was it. Then they said, we watched the little people and they took Al back down, I guess. So we didn't open the door. So we're up there like about another hour, and then all of a sudden, all the Marines report to the ambassador's office now. Report to the ambassador's now, and so we go into the ambassador's office, and we get in there, and they say, "Listen carefully," and they're all on the phones. They got the intercoms on the phones open, everything like, and you hear like click, 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 and they go, listen carefully, Marines. The President of the United States is ordering the Marines to stand down. The President of the United States is ordering the Marines to stand down. Do you understand?" We're just sitting there. And then they said it one more time, and I said, "Are you?" I said, "They'll kill us."
Yeah.
And I just remember everybody looked at me like, "Did you just say that?"
I bet the tension in the air could have been cut with
Yeah,
a
for
knife.
us, with us. And we're like, unbelievable. We're thinking to ourselves. We didn't say anything because all the other diplomats in there, stuff like that. And then one of the diplomats says something. She says, "You know what's going to happen if you don't follow those orders. You know what's going to happen." We're like, "What the heck?" So we all walk out and we're talking about it. They're going to kill us. And then the rest of them told us what's going to happen. I says, "Shortly, we're still talking. There are negotiations apparently with the foreign ministry and whatever, and they want you to open the doors, and they're just going to have a sit-in for 8 hours." We go, "What?" "But you're going to have to put your weapons away, do whatever, hide them, do whatever you got to do, but you're not going to have any weapons when we open the doors."
Jesus.
Yeah,
So the embassy is completely surrounded
correct.
by thousands and
Thousands
thousands
and
and thousands
thousands.
of
Yeah,
people,
and
and you're
armed, and
you're
armed. Some of them armed.
some
Yeah,
of them are armed, and you guys are up there in like the what floor?
so, top floor,
The
third floor,
top floor, the
third
third
floor of the
floor of this
embassy.
place. You just got told by the president of the United States to stand
Yeah,
down. What's going through your head?
I was going, "Where's the helicopters?" Because normally most embassies, if you're close enough, but we're so far into that country, there was nobody coming to get us. Nobody's coming to get us, so we were on our own.
Oh my
Yeah,
God.
because all the military's already gone. All the other military, our military, Air Force, everybody's gone. They kicked them out of the country in January, and everybody left right after that.
January of 1979, they
79, yeah,
left.
yeah.
So you guys were
January, February,
completely
yeah,
alone and
yeah,
and afraid, like,
correct,
or unafraid, I
yeah.
guess.
Not unafraid,
But yeah.
but in a way, but yeah. So they finally tell us we're going to open the doors. We said, "Okay." So Marines, we all say we're going to open the doors, but we're going to let all the diplomats out first. So if they start shooting or killing them or doing whatever, as they go down the steps, we'll just slam the door shut, get our guns, and we'll take care of ourselves.
Oh, so you were like, okay, we're gonna have the diplomats go first,
Yes.
so that way, if they do decide to
Yeah.
start firing, that we're just gonna be able to hole up, and protect ourselves. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So
Jesus.
we did. We let them out, and then the Marines were like, they didn't do anything. They just took them downstairs. So next, we were next. So it's my turn. I finally come out, and I just remember. I don't know how. I don't know what happened. But next thing I know is I'm tied up with my hands behind my back, and I'm being carried face down by my legs and my arms, and I'm being at an angle, and they're carrying me down the stairs. So I must have got cracked in the head or something. 'Cause I just couldn't feel it at the time. And I remember I'm tied up already, and I'm at an angle hanging down. They take me outstairs, and I could feel the air start to hit me because it was like 32 degrees outside, and it would little snow earlier, little drizzle. So I get up there and they're going, Mach Bottomatica, Mach Bottom. But that time they're just starting to take the Marines out. And then all of a sudden, Mach Bottomatica, Mach Bottomatica. And they start to take us to a crowd. And I can hear the crowds and they stop and they stand me up. And I'm just standing there. It's like on the steps of the front steps of the embassy. And I can hear everything going on. And then all of a sudden they just, they bring some more. I can tell because it's just Marines behind me coming with them coming. And they kind of stop and they're like pushing on me. And then all of a sudden they stopped and I just hear, everybody's hissing like snakes, thousands of people
At the
hissing.
same time.
Yes. And I'm like, oh my God, what's going on now?
That had to be so freaking
It was
terrifying.
so terrifying. It was like, I was like, oh my God. And then they picked us up again and they took us to the ambassador's house and sat us in a room. We're blindfolded and everything.
Yeah.
And I go, oh my God. And then we get in, they take our blindfolds off. We're sitting there at a table and it's an Iranian and a hostage, an Iranian all the way around the table. And then it wasn't until years later I found out what they were doing when they were going, and that's what it sounded like. It sounded like a big hiss to me, but they were going, they were phonetically saying CIA.
Oh.
Yeah.
So they thought that you guys were CIA or something?
Yeah. I don't know why, but
Huh.
CIA. Yeah.
Interesting.